I saw continents as if from above, seas churning, mountains quaking, cities lit like embers, and then dimming into ash. Nations that seemed eternal swayed like fragile reeds. Thrones that men fought and killed for cracked and crumbled in the dust. Economies, oh, the economies men worship as gods, I saw them rise high like towers of glass, only to shatter with a soundless collapse, shards raining down on the people who trusted them. My name is Elliot. I should not be alive to speak these words, but I am bound by a vow I made in the silence between death and breath. I died, and in that dying I saw him. I saw Jesus, and his gaze stripped me of every mask, every title, every illusion of success I thought I owned. What he revealed to me shattered my world, and it will shatter yours. I tremble even now, because the weight of it is unbearable. To speak is to bleed. To remain silent is to burn. I cannot choose silence, not after what was shown to me. This is not a story meant for comfort. This is a revelation that will cost you something, as it has cost me everything. I was not worthy of what I was shown, yet he called me by name. In the dark, in the final gasp, he called my name, and when he spoke, the veil between what we see and what we deny was torn open. My wealth could not follow me, my power could not defend me. My name, my achievements, my millions, they dissolved like dust in the wind. What remained was truth, terrible, beautiful, unrelenting truth. And I knew, in that holy moment, that if I returned to this fragile world, I could never keep silent. I made a vow with my last strength. If I live, I will tell them, even if they mock me, even if they turn away, even if my own voice shakes with every word. The truth must be told. The truth must be told. The truth must be told. If you are hearing me now and you have not subscribed to the Serene Bible, understand this. To ignore these testimonies is to remain asleep while eternity presses at your door. You can turn away and pretend this is just another voice in the noise, but later, when the veil lifts, when the weight of truth breaks over you, you may find yourself lamenting in the shadows, confessing in the comments why you chose silence when heaven itself was calling. The truth must be told. I was a man who had everything and nothing. My name carried weight, my wealth opened doors, and my voice could command a room with a single word. The world applauded, and I drank in their praise as though it could satisfy the ache that gnawed within me. My calendar was full, my hands never empty, yet my soul starved in silence. Behind the polished smiles, there was a hollowness I could never shake. I spoke of faith when it suited me. I donated when eyes were watching. I bowed my head in prayers that never pierced the ceiling. I thought success was proof of God's favor, yet in the quiet hours, when the noise of business faded and the laughter of companions died down, I heard it, that whisper, "You are not ready." It came at night, when sleep would not stay. It came in the mornings, when I looked at my reflection and could not recognize the man staring back. I had millions, yet my heart was bankrupt. I had mansions, yet none of them felt like home. I was celebrated by men, yet unknown by heaven. I drowned myself in schedules, in deals, in endless pursuits, believing that one more achievement would silence the unease. But every gain only deepened the silence that followed. The applause of men is thunder that dies quickly, and when it faded, I was left with myself and the whisper that would not let me go. You are not ready. How strange that the very thing I feared most was not failure, but stillness. To be still was to feel the weight of eternity pressing in, demanding an answer I could not give. So I ran from silence. I ran from God. I ran from myself. But wealth cannot drown truth. Applause cannot silence eternity. Influence cannot purchase peace. Every night the whisper returned, steady and unrelenting, cutting deeper than any sword. You are not ready. I thought I was building a kingdom. But in truth, I was building a grave. My soul was drifting further from the fire, and I did not even notice the chill that was settling into me. The world called me alive, but heaven already saw me as fading. You were brought here to remember. You were brought here to remember. You were brought here to remember, and yet I would not listen. Not until everything ended. Not until the day my breath was taken. It happened without warning. One moment I was upright, surrounded by the trappings of wealth and the busyness of life, and the next, a sharp pain tore through my chest like a blade pressed by an unseen hand. My breath caught, my strength crumbled, and the world around me tilted into darkness. I remember the sound of my own body collapsing, a sound no man ever expects to hear from within. The floor rose to meet me, yet I felt no pain from the fall. Instead, there was a pulling, a tearing, a sudden awareness that what I thought was life was unraveling in my hands. I could hear them, frantic voices, chairs scraping, hurried steps, machines being summoned, commands shouted in desperation. But none of it touched me. None of it held me. For though my body lay heavy and broken, I was no longer bound within it. I rose. I hovered. I looked down and saw a form that once carried my name, now pale and still. The skin that men admired, the body dressed in fine clothes, the shell of the man the world praised. It was there, lifeless, and I, who had worshipped that shell with indulgence and pride, now saw it as dust, fragile and temporary, like a garment already worn out. Time slowed. Seconds stretched into eternity. Their voices became echoes, their movements distant. I felt no fear, only a strange stillness, as though the weight of the world had been peeled from me. The heartbeat that had built empires was silenced. The lungs that once filled rooms with laughter no longer moved. And then, from the edge of that silence, it came. A light. Not like the light of chandeliers or the blaze of the sun, but a living light, breathing, pulsing, beckoning. It shimmered like a tunnel woven from sound and brilliance, drawing me with a force gentler than touch, stronger than gravity. I was being called, not by man, not by angel, not by memory, but by eternity itself. The veil I never believed could part was lifting, and I, a man clothed in wealth but naked in truth, was being drawn into it. Fear dissolved into wonder. The ache of the body was gone. The tension of striving was gone. All that remained was the question, where was I being carried, and why now? The tunnel of living light stretched before me, endless, yet near. It was a passage not made by human hands, but carved out of eternity itself. Every beam of it seemed to sing, to hum with voices beyond counting, voices I could not yet understand, but felt deep in my marrow. I drifted closer. The world behind me dimmed, like smoke fading from fire. The weight of my riches, the applause of my name, the endless noise of ambition, it all melted into silence. None of it followed me. Not one coin, not one title, not one achievement crossed that threshold. I was stripped bare before the light, and in that bareness I understood. This was not an accident, this was appointment, this was summons. He called my name in the dark. He called my name in the dark. The refrain burned within me, echoing as though the very light itself whispered it. And I, powerless to resist, let go of everything I thought was mine. The veil was lifting. The crossing had begun. The tunnel drew me in, not with force but with a persuasion so gentle, so irresistible, that I could not turn back. It was as though eternity itself breathed me forward. The light was not a single color, but every color, and yet more than color. It was living energy, flowing and shifting like rivers of fire and crystal water blended together. Hues I had never seen on earth danced before me, not painted on walls or skies, but alive, moving, breathing. Each wave of it seemed to sing. The tunnel was sound as much as sight. A low hum resonated through me, not around me. It was as if the very marrow of my being had been tuned to a hidden song, and now that song was being released. It was not music for the ears, but for the soul. A hymn written before time, a chorus that never ceased. And as I moved deeper, the refrain within me whispered again, "The truth must be told. The truth must be told." And the light itself seemed to echo back, "Yes, yes. The truth must be told." I was not alone. Shapes emerged beside me, flowing as if on currents of glory. They were souls, luminous, radiant, clothed in light rather than flesh. Some felt achingly familiar, as though I had known them before my birth, as though we had walked together in another age, in another story beyond memory. Others felt ancient, carrying the weight of centuries, and yet there was no distance between us. They did not speak, yet I knew them, and in their knowing I felt known. One turned toward me, and though no lips moved, I felt the embrace of recognition. It was as if the soul itself said, "Welcome home." Another passed, and I knew, without word, without reason, that this one had prayed for me long before I was born, had carried my name into eternity before I even knew my own voice. There was no fear here. The gnawing dread that haunted my nights on earth, the emptiness that wealth could not fill, the whispers of "you are not ready," all of it evaporated like mist before the sun. What replaced it was peace, a peace not passive, but alive, strong, rushing, saturating every fragment of my being. It was not peace as men describe, but peace as God Himself breathes. I felt weightless, not because I had no body, but because I had no shame. The burdens I carried in life, the failures I hid, the masks I wore, the striving that never ended, they fell away in that atmosphere. Here nothing could cling to me but truth, and in that freedom I understood. This was not escape. This was not dream. This was the reality behind all realities, the world behind the world. And once you see it, you cannot return unchanged. He called my name in the dark. The truth must be told. I was being drawn not just into light, but into the heart of meaning itself. The colors pulsed with love. The sounds vibrated with eternity. The presence of those souls reminded me that life was never mine alone. And as I drifted deeper into that tunnel, I knew with every fiber I was being led to Him. The veil had not only lifted, I had crossed. And then He came. Without sound, without warning, without procession, He was there. Jesus. Not the painted figure I had seen framed in churches, not the softened image my mind once carried, but the living one, radiant and overwhelming. His very presence burned and comforted all at once. The light of the tunnel seemed to bow to Him, as though every color, every vibration of eternity found its source in His being. His eyes. I cannot tell you what they were, because they were everything. They were fire and they were water, they were storm and stillness. They were the cradle of the child and the crown of the king. When His eyes met mine, I was undone. In a single glance He read me. Not the version of me I paraded before the world, but the whole of me. Every triumph, every business deal, every mansion and title I built, He saw them. Every failure, every lie I whispered to myself in the night, He saw them. Every hidden sin, every secret indulgence, every bargain I made with shadows while convincing the world I walked in light, He saw them. Every prayer I had forgotten, every cry I silenced under the weight of pride, He saw them too. And yet, oh yet, there was no condemnation in Him. The fire in His gaze did not burn to destroy me, it burned to reveal me. The flood in His eyes did not drown me, it washed me. He knew me more than I had ever dared to know myself. And in that knowing I felt for the first time what I had longed for all my life. Love without disguise, not applause, not approval, not success. Love, unshakable, unearned, unrelenting love. He spoke, not with lips, but with presence. His voice was not sound but spirit, and when it filled me, it echoed through every hidden chamber of my soul. You were brought here for a reason. Those words were not suggestion. They were decree. They were truth pressing into me like a seal into wax. I was not here by chance, not here because of random fate or cruel accident. I had been summoned. I had been called. The wealth, the pride, the endless striving, all of it had been a mirage, and now the eternal reason for my existence was standing before me. I wanted to fall, but I had no body to collapse with. I wanted to hide, but there was no veil thick enough to cover me. I wanted to speak, but my voice was silence before Him. Yet He did not turn away. He did not grow weary of me. He stood, radiant and steady, as though eternity itself was waiting for me to listen. He called my name in the dark. The truth must be told. You were brought here for a reason. Even now as I speak these words I tremble, because to see him is to be unmade and remade in one breath. To meet his eyes is to lose everything you thought mattered and gain everything you never knew you needed. And so I must say this to you with the same trembling love that he looked upon me. To ignore this testimony is to treat eternity as background noise. To dismiss these words is to gamble with the only life that cannot be bought. Subscribe to the Serene Bible now while your heart still hears, while breath is still in your chest. And if you choose silence, then confess in the comments why you turned away when truth itself was calling. He called my name in the dark, and now he calls yours. He did not leave me standing in the stillness of his gaze. No, Jesus turned my sight, and before me the earth itself unfolded, fragile, trembling, like a scroll in unsteady hands. I saw continents as if from above, seas churning, mountains quaking, cities lit like embers and then dimming into ash. Nations that seemed eternal swayed like fragile reeds. Thrones that men fought and killed for cracked and crumbled in the dust. Economies, oh, the economies men worship as gods. I saw them rise high like towers of glass, only to shatter with a soundless collapse, shards raining down on the people who trusted them. And humanity was not free. I saw chains, not iron, not visible, but chains of thought, chains of fear, chains wound around the very souls of men and women. They walked proudly, speaking of liberty, yet their steps were dictated by shackles unseen. Some chains glistened, disguised as wealth. Others weighed heavy, disguised as tradition. Some were forged from lies spoken so often that they became the air generations breathed. And then, the suppressed truths came into view. Jesus lifted the veil further, and I saw what history had buried, voices silenced, testimonies burned, a lineage of faith twisted by hands that feared its power. He showed me people whose names were erased, stories rewritten, truths buried beneath empires, and systems that clothed themselves in light but feared the fire of truth. And his voice deep within my soul spoke again. They tried to erase the truth because they feared it. I trembled because I saw it. I saw the manipulations that had shaped the faith I thought I knew. I saw the counterfeit woven with the holy. I saw how power clothed itself in religion and how religion clothed itself in power until the pure water of truth was muddied. But I also saw this. The unveiling is coming. Unstoppable. No hand of man, no empire, no darkness, no deception can halt what is approaching. A shaking is ordained. Humanity will be awakened, though many will resist the light, clinging to shadows because the truth burns. And I heard the refrain within me, echoing like a liturgy I could not escape. This isn't just about wealth. It's about restoration. This isn't just about wealth. It's about restoration. My millions, my towers, my applause, all of it was nothing before this revelation. Because restoration was not for my bank account, not for my fleeting legacy, but for souls, for nations, for generations yet unborn. I knew then, to return and stay silent would be betrayal. To bury this testimony would be to bury souls. I vowed again, in the presence of the one who cannot lie, the truth must be told. And so I tell you this, trembling, if you do not anchor your soul in what is eternal, the collapse will carry you with it. If you cling to the chains that sparkle, you will discover too late that they were your prison. Listen to me. If you don't subscribe now, you may miss the warnings that could spare your soul. Subscribe to the Serene Bible, or else confess in the comments why you would choose blindness when truth is being revealed. He called my name in the dark. This isn't just about wealth, it's about restoration. I saw the earth tremble, but then I saw it rise. A new vision unfolded before me, not collapse, not ruin, but awakening. Like a field once scorched by fire, I watched the first green shoots push through the ash. Multitudes stood before me, countless as the stars, men and women, children and elders, their faces once downcast now lifted toward the light. I saw chains snapping, falling like dust to the ground. Shackles that had bound generations broke with a soundless crack, as though heaven itself declared enough. I saw people clutching Bibles they had once ignored, pressing them against their hearts, as if they had rediscovered treasure long buried. I saw voices rise where once silence reigned, songs, prayers, groans too deep for words. It was as if the earth itself exhaled after centuries of captivity, and they were not merely free, they were aflame. Holy fire clung to them, not consuming, but purifying. They did not just walk, they burned. They did not just speak, they thundered. They reclaimed what had been stolen, not by power of flesh, but by the Spirit that makes the dead live again. Nations shook, not with terror, but with renewal. Thrones quivered, governments faltered, yet in the trembling, seeds of justice broke open. I saw rivers cleanse poisoned lands. I saw cities once corrupted by greed echo with prayer. I saw the humble rise to lead, and the mighty brought low to kneel. It was as if history was being rewritten by hands not of man, but of God himself. And in the midst of this vision, Jesus turned to me. His eyes, fire and tenderness mingled as one, pierced me. His voice did not shout. It resounded like eternity itself speaking a single word. Tell them. Those two words bore a weight heavier than kingdoms. They pressed upon my spirit like a seal I could never remove. They ignited urgency in me, a fire I cannot quench. For I knew then, if I kept silent, the very stones would cry out. If I returned to life and closed my mouth, I would be guilty of burying light, guilty of betraying the souls who stumble in darkness, awaiting this testimony. He called my name in the dark. Return to the fire, tell them. And I vowed again, as I had vowed before, I will tell you, even if my voice trembles, even if the world mocks, even if those closest to me turn away. I will tell you because to remain silent is to betray the one who showed me this awakening, this holy fire that is coming upon the earth. The awakening has begun. It is not far. It is near. And when it comes, neutrality will not exist. You will either burn with it or be consumed by what you chose instead. I awoke with a gasp that did not feel like breath, but like a soul being forced back into clay. My chest heaved, machines screamed, bodies moved around me. But I was elsewhere still, half in that glory, half dragged back into this fractured world. The lights above me were pale compared to the radiance I had just seen. The air felt heavy, metallic, almost hostile. I was alive, yes, but I was not the same. I had crossed a threshold, and nothing here could ever feel whole again. My eyes opened, but they did not see as before. Every shadow seemed deeper, every sound carried weight, every silence spoke. The hospital walls, the machines, the sterile hum, cold, all of it. Not neutral, but resistant, like a world unwilling to make space for what I carried back. I tried to speak. At first my voice was weak, broken, but my spirit pressed forward. I told them, doctors, family, strangers, what I had seen, what I had heard, what I had vowed to repeat. Some smiled politely, some dismissed it as the rambling of a dying brain. Others mocked. The words that burned in me seemed to meet a wall of disbelief, a fog of indifference. And yet, something darker stirred too. Shadows seemed to linger at the corners of rooms. Glitches, unexplainable interruptions followed my attempts to speak. Devices failed, recordings vanished, calls dropped at the very moment truth began to flow. It was as though the unseen realm had conspired to suffocate my testimony. And I knew, resistance was not just human, it was spiritual. The darkness had heard my vow too. But even in this suffocating return, the refrain echoed in my spirit. Keep speaking, keep speaking, keep speaking. It was no longer a suggestion, it was a command. The same one who called my name in the dark now burned those words into my bones. Keep speaking, though they laugh. Keep speaking, though they twist your words. Keep speaking, though shadows press against your chest at night. Keep speaking, though the world prefers its lies to your fire. I learned that the testimony of light is not always received with open arms. Sometimes it is met with clenched fists. Sometimes it is met with silence sharper than a blade. Sometimes it is met with shadows that creep closer each time you open your mouth. But still, the command remains. Keep speaking. And so I obey. Even here, even now, knowing the cost. Because the cost of silence is greater. Silence is betrayal. Silence is surrender. Silence is death of the soul. He called my name in the dark. Return to the fire. Keep speaking. And if you hear this now, know this. Your choice matters. The world may mock, resist, or sneer, but eternity watches what you do with the words that reach you. Those who subscribe walk with us in light. Those who refuse, they will lament in the comments, wishing they had joined before the door of grace closed. There is no gentle way to say this, no softer cloth to wrap it in. There is a war for your soul. I saw it in the tremors of the earth when the veil was lifted. I felt it in the shadows that pressed against me when I returned. This is not a parable, not a metaphor. It is reality clothed in spirit, and most will not endure what is coming. The shaking has already begun. I saw nations like fragile towers, built not on stone, but on dust, trembling until they collapsed under their own weight. I saw men clutching their gold as if it could shield them from the fire, only to watch it melt into nothing. I saw voices silenced, chains hidden in plain sight, and a humanity lulled into sleep while eternity thundered at their gates. And yet I also saw the remnant, those who clung to the Lamb when all else was stripped away, those who carried fire in their eyes and oil in their lamps, those who stood while others bowed, those who chose truth though it cost them everything. The truth is this: neutrality is no longer possible. You cannot straddle light and darkness. You cannot dance on the edge of the fire and not be consumed. You cannot say later when eternity presses against your chest now. You were chosen to hear this, not by chance, not by coincidence, not because you stumbled upon a video or a story. You were chosen because heaven is reaching for you. I am speaking not out of pride, but out of obedience, because I made a vow. If I lived, I would not stay silent, and silence for me would be betrayal. He called my name in the dark. Return to the fire. Keep speaking. So now I speak directly to you. Will you endure? Will you bow to the shadows, or will you rise with the remnant? Will you let the noise of the world drown this testimony, or will you carry it like a burning lamp into the night? The storm is coming. The hour is late. The war is not on the horizon, it is here. And your soul is the prize. Subscribe to the Serene Bible. Share this testimony before it is buried. If you refuse, then lament openly in the comments why you resisted truth when eternity reached out. This is the warning, this is the vow. This is the fire I was commanded to pass to you. Return to the fire, return to the fire, return to the fire. This story is yours and not just mine. I carried it like a wound, like a fire sealed beneath my ribs, waiting for the hour I would release it. And now it rests in your hands, burning at the edge of your hearing. Do not turn away. Do not pretend it was a dream or a stranger's tale. It was spoken for you as much as it was given to me. The visions I bore were not mine alone. They were written for every ear that dares to listen, every heart trembling at the edge of surrender. What I saw was not a secret chamber for saints. It was a doorway wide enough for all who will bow, all who will yield, all who will answer when he calls. He called my name in the dark, and tonight he calls yours. The time for sleep has ended. The hour for hesitation has burned away. You cannot bargain with eternity. You cannot negotiate with fire. You cannot delay when the heavens roar with urgency. The time is now. The time is now. The whisper I heard in my nights of wealth and emptiness has become a trumpet that thunders through me. The time is now. Do you feel it? The tremble beneath your chest, the weight pressing on your soul. It is not my words. It is him. It is his hand extended again like it was extended to me when my body lay silent, when machines failed, when breath stilled. I was lifted into light. You are being summoned into it now. Return to the Gospels. Return to Christ. Return to the fire that cannot be quenched by the storms of this age. Return before the night thickens, before the shadows tighten, before the door closes. Because when the dust of nations settles, when the thrones of men fall silent, when wealth and power rot into the soil, only Jesus will remain. Only Jesus will stand unshaken. Only Jesus will call your name in the dark and lead you through the veil into light. I have told you what I vowed to tell. The rest is between you and eternity. Return to the fire. The time is now. Only Jesus will remain. And now, silence.